I'm pleased to see everyone looks amazing.
Thank you. All right.
So obviously I wish I could be there in the US with you, but unfortunately with COVID and everything going on, we're kind of stuck here in England. But luckily ECN have this wonderful platform to be able to do my training with as many of you as possible. But any questions, as Linda said, pop it in the chat and we'll try and get through those as we're going. So we have limited time today, so we're just going to cover the main bulk of BathMate, which is obviously the pumps. We'll go through the differences between the pumps, how the pumps work, a little bit of kind of customer care, and then if we've got time at the end, we'll go through any questions. So let's get started. I'm not sure if any of you have ever had BathMate training before, so hopefully this kind of covers everything as much as possible. So I guess to start is probably a little bit of background. So obviously my name's Kerry. I've been at BathMate for nearly 3 years now, actually over 3 years, getting old. And I look after the US sales, but also all the product development. We've got some new products in the pipeline, so we're hoping towards the beginning of 2022, where's the year gone, we will be launching some new items, and hopefully we can get back out the road and see a lot more of your faces. So that's me. So BathMate, so we started in 2006. And our owner, John Oakes, he basically was just helping out a friend. So his friend had a really serious rugby injury that left him paralyzed from the waist down, which meant he was unable to gain or maintain an erection. John's background was in hydraulic engineering. And what he did was he came up with the world's first hydro-based penis enlarger. So obviously nowadays it looks like this, which is our hydro model, but I don't know if anyone watches Archer, but he's very similar to kind of Krieger. He's a bit of a crazy scientist, and I imagine it looks a little bit more like a plastic bottle with a little bit of a crazy contraption on the end, but eventually now it looks like this. And to date, we now sell roughly 25,000 pumps a month in 104 countries. So from just helping out of a friend, it has become a huge business globally. So what I always say in all of these trainings is you should always help out your friends because you never know what it could achieve. Okay, so that's a little bit of background into BathMate. So let's get cracking with the pumps themselves. I hope I don't say too many English things, like let's get cracking. I retract that immensely. Okay, so starting with the our first pump, so hydro. So all of our pumps are based on like a good, better, best. So we have hydro, hydro max, and then hydro extreme. Hydro extreme being our top model, hydro being our entry-level model. So obviously hydro means water. So as you can see from the packaging, we have hydro for water, and then all of our pumps will have a number. So hydro only comes in the 7 model. Now this means that the pump is designed for penises that are currently erect between 5 and 7 inches. So you need to make sure that the customer is buying the pump designed for their current penis size, not the size they wish to be, but the size that they currently are, okay? So just on that note, we do have these sizing guides. Not very good at this like back to front thing. So these are our sizing guides. Now, if you speak to your ECN rep, they can send you this PDF, so you can print it off and have it out in store. And what it does is it goes through all of the sizes of our pumps by girth and length, so your customers can work out exactly which pump size they would need to buy. And then at the bottom here, it tells you which models come in those sizes. So I would thoroughly recommend that everyone prints this or has a copy of this up in the BathMate section. It just makes things so much easier when a customer comes in to buy a pump in store. Obviously, being penis enlargers, A lot of people are a little bit more shy. They may not want to have that conversation with you. And also if you're sales staff, it kind of takes away that how big is your penis conversation. So you can refer them to the sizing chart. Now, on that note, all of our boxes do have these markers on, okay? So if you were to hold this box against the groin, obviously I do understand where the penis comes out of, I'm short. So if you were to hold the box against the groin and you would naturally land between these two markers when erect, then this is the pump size for you. Okay, so on the sides of all the boxes are the markers depending. So here we have the 5. So this is 3, this is 5. So if I show you against the 7, so 3, 5, 5, 7. So these markers will show you when you hold the box against the body, which pump size would be correct for you. Okay, so that covers boxes. So remember, hydro only comes in that one size, and that is 7. Okay, so that is our most popular size. If you don't currently carry bathmate, or you're trying to work out kind of if you were to put it into store which models to sell, I'd always recommend carrying hydro 7. Hydro Max 7 is our most popular model, but it's always 7 is our most popular size. This is the most common penis size globally. So that's between 5 and 7 inches when erect. So the pumps themselves, now they look, and don't get me wrong, I completely understand because I used to work in stores myself. They look more complicated than they are, okay? So it's very, very simple to use. It's not going to be difficult, I promise. So I'm just might tilt this a little bit. Here we go. So using my little fish tank here, I'm going to show you how to use the pumps. So really, really, really simple. All the pumps work exactly the same. There's just some minor differences between them. So you fill the pump up with water, whether that be in the bath or the shower. Make sure there's as much water in the pump as possible. You're then going to insert the flaccid penis, pull back on the pump, and you'll see the water exiting the pump via the valve at the end. Okay, now I'm just going to tilt this a little bit. Okay, so what's happening is that by pulling back on the pump, you're forcing the water out of the pump. And because of the pressure, what you're doing is by pulling the water out, you're pulling the blood from around the body into the penis. Now, the most important thing to think about is that for every milliliter of water that you pull out of the pump, you are pulling a milliliter of blood into the penis. Okay, so it's displacing. So water in, blood, water out, blood in. Okay, now don't get concerned. You will not be able to continue pumping and you draw all the blood from your brain and then you pass out in the shower. That's not going to happen. You will probably only be able to pull back on the pump a couple of times until you reach your maximum pressure. You are not able to over pump, and even if you got to a point where you're like, actually this is a little bit uncomfortable, there is a quick release valve, and by just pressing down like this on the top of the valve, you will completely release the pressure and you can remove the pump and start again. Okay, so we've attached the pump to the body, and what we're doing is we're going to leave the pump on the body for 3 minutes. Okay, now during those 3 minutes, what you're doing is you're holding all that fresh blood in the penis. Now your heart can only naturally pump so much blood into the penis. Okay, when you use a pump, you will pull more blood than your heart naturally pumps into the penis. Now what this means is you're stretching the skin cells. So you're creating extremely, extremely fine micro tears onto the surface of the penis, and you're widening the blood vessels and stretching out the skin. Okay, now it sounds more aggressive than it is. You wouldn't know at all. So for those 3 minutes, you're holding all that fresh nutrient blood within the penis, holding the blood vessels nice and wide. And then after those 3 minutes are up, what you're going to do is simply remove the pump from the body. So you're going to do those rabbit fingers on the top of the pump, and you'll hear like a noise. Oh. That was quite disappointing of a noise there. So, and then you can pull the pump away from the body. Okay. Now, from my plastic, I wouldn't call it plastic, Pete. Sorry, Pete. From my plastic penis, obviously this is going to be erect because it's not real. But one thing to note is that when you use a pump, the minute that you take the pump off of the body, you're going to lose the majority of the erection immediately. So what happens is, because you're holding that blood in the penis, it holds the erection. The minute you release the pressure, you're going to let that blood flow back into the body. So you're going to lose, I would say, probably 70 to 80% of the erection immediately. Now, for this reason, if you are using the pump to have sexual intercourse, then what I would recommend is you use it, well, I would recommend it, it's the only way to do it, is to use a cock ring alongside the pump, okay? When we get to Hydromax, I'll show you how to use the ring with the pump. It's easier to do it with the Hydromax.
Carrie, I have a quick question. Diego's asking, he said, I have some clients that tell me that Hydromax pressure is uncomfortable for them. What should I recommend for them?
So Hydromax, can I come back to that when I do Hydromax?
Yes.
Okay, I will not forget, I promise. So the bath mate routine from a manufacturer's perspective is that you do 3 sets of 5 minutes per day. Okay, now that 5 minutes is broken into, really bad at counting. So 3 minutes in the pump, 2 minutes out the pump. So when you take the pump off, that's your 2 minutes. So you're going to take the pump off, you're going to lose most of the erection, and you're going to wait for the erection to go completely. You need to be flaccid when using the pump. So during those 2 minutes, the blood will flow back into the body, and then you're at a place where you're flaccid again to then do your second and third set. Okay, so you're doing 3 sets of 5 minutes, which is 3 minutes in the pump and 2 minutes out the pump. I realize this is a lot of numbers. Okay, so just to add some more numbers into it, we do recommend that you only use the pump 5 days a week. Now, if you want to do Monday to Friday and take the weekends off, that's fine. If you want to do every other day, that's fine. The only thing, the reason why we say that you need to take those rest days is during the stretching process. Obviously what I said was you're creating those very, very fine micro tears to the skin, and you're stretching the skin cells. Now, similarly to bodybuilding and similarly to using the gym, you do need to take the rest days to really see the benefits. If customers hit a point where they're not quite seeing a difference, normally it's because they're pumping too much, they're not letting the body recover. So it is quite key to make sure you take those rest days. Okay, so it's 5 days a week, maximum of 15 minutes per 24-hour period. I realize this is a lot of numbers. Okay, so that's, let's just quickly cover the 3 differences with Hydro. So as I mentioned, Hydro is our entry-level pump. This means it is our good pump. So it has 3 main differences. So hopefully, I'm not sure if you can see, oh here, yeah. So this has a glued on comfort pad. Now what this means is that over time, this will come off, okay? It's glued on. Now you're using it in the pump, so you're using it in the bath or the shower. So you're using warm water, soaps, shampoos, heat, and that eventually will come away. It's not faulty, it's not broken, it's designed to do this. Roughly around probably 6-9 months of use, that will start to come away. Now, as I said, it's not broken, you just peel it off. We sell a replacement pack of 2, you just stick the new one on and it's as good as the day that you bought it. This very cheap pack of 2 replacements, not a problem. Most people at this point will change pump into a larger pump anyway, or go into a Hydromax. So most people you can upsell from having just a cheap replacement pump pad into a new pump. But yeah, so glued on comfort pad. The second difference is that it does not have a locking valve. So what this means is when you fill the pump up with water, the water will come straight out the bottom of the pump. You need to hold the valve closed. Sorry, hold on. Ends up getting like SeaWorld, and it water everywhere. So because that water will drain straight out, what you need to do is hold your finger over the valve to trap the water within the pump. You can then get your penis in and your balls out. Now, anyone that's seen me do this training before, I always say, this is so English, you want to get your meat in and your veg out. So in England, we call it your meat and two veg. So you want to get your penis, your meat in, and your veg, your testicles out. Now, as you can probably tell, I don't have any testicles. However, I have seen people kind of accidentally pull their testicles in, and they were somewhat uncomfortable. So I would suggest not doing that. So the best way to avoid that is to just take a couple of minutes in the bath or shower to warm up, let things drop a little bit before you start using the pump. Also, you will see that the pump itself has this cut base, okay? Now this is designed on purpose. Again, it's not faulty. We get a lot of people asking about this. This is cut especially so your testicles hang down, okay? Now, most people use the pump this way. There is no problem whatsoever with flipping it up the other way and using the pump this way around. If you have smaller testicles or you tend to find they're pulled in quite regularly, a lot of people turn the pump the other way around. And because this is not cut at an angle, it puts more pressure onto the base and your testicles are less likely to be pulled in. So you can use it either way, but obviously the only difference is that the measuring kind of ruler is on the top of the pump. You don't need to be measuring it every single time anyway. Okay, and then the third difference, which might help with your customer, is that the Hydro is 35% less powerful than the Hydro Max. So the Hydro creates 0.35 bar of negative pressure. The Hydro Max and the Hydro Extreme produce 0.55 bar. Now, for those who don't know, we are FDA regulated, which means we are not a sex toy, we are a medical device. We are a class 2 medical device. Now, what this means is that we have to follow quite strict FDA regulation. Now, that means that we can only produce a pump that produces 0.55 bar of negative pressure. This is because the FDA stipulate that that is the legal limit of pressure on the body. So we do not produce a pump and will never produce a pump that creates more than 0.55 bar of pressure. Every single pump goes through vigorous testing through this machine that tests it like there's a countless amounts of times to make sure that that pressure will never go over what it's stipulated to be. So the Hydro is a lighter pressure. The thing that creates the pressure is the gator here. So you will see a slight difference in the gator between a Hydro and a Hydro Max. Okay, so this is a Hydro, this is a Hydro Max, and this is what creates the pressure. Okay, so 3 key points with Hydro. So no locking valve, 0.35 bar of pressure, and the glued on comfort pad. Just checking for time. Okay, moving on. So moving on to the Hydro Max. Now, as I showed you before, this is our packaging. This is the orange box. So Hydro is yellow, Hydro Max is orange, Hydro Extreme is red. So Hydro Max comes in the multiple sizes. So Hydro Max starts at 3. So we have 3, 5, 7, wide boy, and 9. Okay, this is 3, and this is an extreme, but this is a 9. So that shows the variance in size. Okay, again, going back to what I said, you do need to make sure that your customer is always buying the pump for their current penis size. Now, you have to remember that you need to have as much water in the pump and as little penis in the pump as possible. Sorry, wrong way around. You need to have as much penis and as little water as possible. So you want to have not too much water. So if you imagine that you had a smaller penis in the big pump So for example, if your penis was to stop down here, there is a lot of water here. Now you're trying to compress that water down and pull back on the pump. You will find that the more water there is in there, the harder it will be to do so. So if you're supposed to be in a 3 and you're using an 11, quite a difference. And you will definitely struggle to get a seal against the skin. You will struggle to get the water out, and you will struggle to use the pump. We always recommend, like I say, the smaller pump. 2 reasons. 1, you will see results quicker. And 2, they're going to come back and buy the next size pump up quite quickly. So you're getting 2 sales instead of 1. So as I said, always use the sizing guide. As you can see, these green parts are your room for growth. So based on your current size, make sure you're buying the right pump. I don't think I can stress that anymore. Okay, Hydro Max. So you've got the multiple sizes. You also have some differences from the Hydro. So as you can see quite clearly, this has got a different base. So this is a comfort insert. This is removable. You can use the pump with or without the comfort insert. You don't have to use it at all. Now, I would probably recommend it. I'd have penis, as we mentioned. However, obviously when you squeeze down on the pump, this compresses and the gaiter completely compresses. Now, I wouldn't feel overly comfortable if my penis got stuck in this gaiter. So I would always use the comfort insert. So as you can see, that protects the skin from getting caught. So if I show you, you can see that coming up through the pump, and that's protecting the penis from being caught, okay? The other difference with the comfort insert is you have these 2 ribs. Can you see here? Now what this does is it gives you a second chance of seal against the skin. You want to get as much, the stronger the seal, the better hold you will get against the body. Now, for this reason, we always recommend that the customer is as trimmed back as possible when using the pump. You don't have to be kind of wet shaved at all, but you do need to be very short haired. Now, for that reason, that is why we sell the trim. So this is a unisex body trimmer. It is cordless, rechargeable. Every time I go out on the road with reps, not mentioning any names, these disappear because they are really, really good for doing beards, hair, chest, and then obviously also your intimate grooming, not naming any names. So this is cordless, rechargeable, great to, if you're going on holiday, charge it up, sling it in your bag. During COVID lockdown, we actually sold out of them because they're really good for doing your hair. And so there was a lot of people, obviously the hairdressers were all closed. So there's a lot of people shaving their heads and doing like home haircuts, and they are amazing and a really good price point. So yeah, so going back to the main point of the trim is that you should be as trimmed back as possible when using the pump. The better the seal, the better the result you will get. Okay. So difference 2 is the comfort insert. Just a reminder, difference 1 is the extra pressure. So extra pressure, comfort insert. The third difference is it has a locking valve. So what that means is you flick the valve over to the left or to the right, and this will hold the water inside the pump. So then you can get your meat in, your veg out, and then flick the valve back to the central position to do your pumping. Okay, it's much easier to use when you're in the shower. So yeah, that is your main differences. So to just kind of cover it again, main differences with a Hydro Max: additional sizing, 35% more power, comfort insert, and locking valve. Okay. Again, sizing guide, cannot stress how important that is to have up in store. Okay. Rattling through. So finally,
we did have a couple of questions, Carrie.
Oh.
Did you want to stop and deal with those real quick?
Yeah, can do.
All right. So Kevin Bronfin is asking, does your finger have to stay on the valve to use it?
No, you need to take your finger off the valve or the water won't come out. So you need to, once you've attached it, once you've popped yourself inside, you can then take your finger off, pull back on the pump. And as you pull back on the pump, you will seal against the skin. So then the pump will connect to the body.
Perfect. And then Question, what is that in pounds per inch?
I don't know the answer to that. I will have to find that out. Also, we're English, so pounds, I'm gonna have to do some maths and come back to you on that one. Sorry.
Got it. Comment. Phil says, this is great information on the differences between the pumps and how they work.
Oh, thanks, Phil.
Question. Dawn says, what is the max you can extend the penis?
Okay, so on that, I get asked this obviously all the time. Now, we can't say a specific difference because every single body is different. It's very dependent on your body. If you sit at home getting takeout, eating badly, smoking, not doing any exercise, your blood flow in general is not going to be that great. And if that's the case, then you're going to find it very hard and very slow to see a result. If you're quite healthy, you've got great you go to the gym, you exercise, you kind of look after yourself, then you're going to find you get better results. Obviously, I see a lot of dick pics, so I am the only girl in the world who can cope with before and after dick pics regularly in my inbox. Now, this, I've seen so many, and I don't like to put a number on anything, but I would say most people do tend to see a change between kind of 6 and 9 months. They are changing pumps. So I would probably say that's if somebody's quite sticking to the routine, doing the 5 days a week. But I would say it's not uncommon for people to change pumps at least in a year if they're kind of a bit, maybe they're not doing 5 days a week, but maybe they're doing 3 or 4. They're probably going to change pumps. And obviously the pumps go up in 2-inch increments. There may be people that start at 6.5 and then they find they go into a 9. But that's because they are kind of over the 7, but under the 9, if you see what I mean. So I would not put a number on it, but I would say people tend to change their pumps with a reasonable year.
All right, great information. We got one more question. Does it cause your foreskin to come back if you're circumcised?
No.
There you go. Oh, another question. When do you know you are done with training, in quotes, or is it something you should continue, quote, forever?
So the way to think about all of our pumps is that it's a gym for your penis. So if you went to the gym for kind of a year, you look real buff, you were like at the point you wanted to be at, you would be like, okay, I don't need to go like every day, but I can maintain now. So the way that we look at our pumps is like when you're at a size that you want to be at, then at that point you would be like, okay, now I'm just going to do like maintenance pumping, which you can do like once every kind of week, 2 weeks, as opposed to doing it the 5 days a week, once you're at the size that you want to be at. But like with everything, if you then completely stopped using the pump, like if you completely stopped going to the gym, you're not going to stay looking like you were before, because that's just not how life is. So you do need to do that maintenance pump to kind of keep your sizing. People will know the difference when you've used the pump. So you have like a 2-hour window. So I call it the window of opportunity. So basically, once you've used the pump, say you've been in the shower and you've used the pump, you have roughly 2 hours where if you were to get a natural erection, not caused by the pump, but a natural erection, say you're going to have sex or what have you, you will fill the size that you were in the pump because you've widened those blood vessels, and it's kind of like a memory. So you will refill to that size. So I always recommend that if you probably know you're going to get laid later and you probably want to be a bit bigger, then use the pump within that 2-hour window. And then later on, you will refill that size, which is, like I said before, bigger than what your heart would naturally do.
All right. I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Question, can it thin or damage the penis?
No. You cannot thin it from using the pump, no. It cannot do damage, but obviously I say that it's the same with any adult toy. You sell them a product, you tell them how to use it. If they don't use it from our instruction, how many times have you told people not to put something in their butt and they put it in their butt? So I think that the key thing here is, as long as you follow the manufacturer's instructions, then no, you cannot do any damage. But if you go into a wild card and start doing crazy stuff, then but yeah, as long as you follow the instructions and you don't do anything that's savage, then yeah, you'll be fine.
All right, last question, and then you can finish up your presentation here. Would the smaller of the pumps work on a trans male, i.e. to increase growth before bottom surgery?
So we were going to do, and we did start to do a kind of like a market research into this. So it's not designed for that. It's never been designed. It was never a market that we tried to kind of get into. But we did have a lot of feedback from trans people saying that they had used it and they had seen benefits to using the pump. So obviously especially I don't like to say, yeah, this is great, this works, when actually I don't know if that's the honest truth. I'm probably way too honest and my own good. But what I would always say is that, you know, from how it's designed and how the product works, then it will draw the blood flow, and it will be, there is potential there, but I don't like to say yes or no. So I'm sitting on the fence. But I would suggest that there is potential there.
Agent Carter, you are free to continue your presentation.
Thank
and you
you.
have
How
7
long do I
minutes
have?
left.
Sorry?
7 minutes left.
Oh my God. Okay, so extreme. So the extreme is the kind of top model of the pumps. So as you can tell from the imagery, there is the addition of the handball and hose. Now, the reason for this is you can use it with or without. So I'm just going to tilt you down to my penis. So you're going to use it exactly the same. So you're going to fill the pump up with water, enter the flask of peanuts, and then you're going to attach the handball and hose to the pump. Okay, so by attaching that, hopefully you can see this. What's happening is I'm just squeezing down on the handball, and what is happening is, instead of having to do any kind of pull back motion, I'm just squeezing that handball. So what's happening is the penis is being sucked up the pump as opposed to pulling back. Now, this is much, much, much better if you've had any kind of surgery, kind of waist down, not very strong core. Also, to be honest with you, a lot of people that are quite serious about their enlargement goals tend to go for the extreme model, because, as I mentioned before, the more water out, the more blood in, and the more blood in, the bigger the the bigger the change to the penis. So you will get more water out because you can do like little squeezes and get little drips of water out, as opposed to doing this pulling back on the body. To be honest with you, like, all the guys in our office use extremes, mostly because they're going for a easier option. Just squeezing the handball is way easier. And like I say, you're going to get a quicker result. Now, for those who haven't seen it, we have actually changed our extremes. So they now come in this, I forget, you don't call it football, soccer boot bag style bag. It is faux leather, no real leather here. And inside is all the existing products that we always had in the extreme. So you get the pump itself, the handball, the bathmate towel, the shower strap, cleaning brush and spray, the lock. Everything is exactly the same product code, same barcode. We've just changed the bag itself. So it used to look like this, not that discreet, and now it looks like this. So people would just be like, oh, it's a boot bag. Not a much more discreet. And the boxes are all the same size, slightly smaller than previous. As you can see here, oh, not very good at this. The sizing is down the side here with the markers, so you can see exactly which pump would be right for you. The Extreme is the only model that comes in all sizes, so 3, 5, 7, wide boy, 9 and 11. A wide boy, just to clarify, is a wider version of the 7. So it's the same length as a 7, but width as a 9. So you have an extra inch in width across the pump. Now, this is more designed for guys that are naturally wider. You do not want to touch the sides of a pump. If you touch the sides of a pump, you need to go up a pump size, okay? Also, if anyone has customers with like Peronis or they're recommended to use a pump for that, then obviously we do recommend using bathmate pumps for this because the pressure is even and it can help to straighten out the penis. But again, don't touch the sides. So if you're touching a size, you want to go up a pump size. Again, your sizing guide is your gem because it will go through the widths to make sure that you are buying the right size for your current penis size. So just quickly, I know we're like really pushed on time. Just to quickly go through some quick customer service. Any problems this end with the customer struggling to connect the pump to the body, I'm telling you now 99% of the time it's because they are too hairy. If they trim back, there is no reason why this will not connect to the body, okay? Any problems this end of the pump, trim your pubes back, you will be fixed. This end of the pump, this is because people don't clean their products. So you just need to remove the valve, pop the valve out, very, very simple. There's a video on our YouTube channel, pop the valve out, clean it. You need to remember you're putting soap, skin, water, lime scale, all manner of nasties out through the pump countless amounts of times. It will get blocked. You do need to clean it. So just clean it, whip it out, clean it, put it back in, and it'll be as good as the day you bought it. So from this end, too hairy, from this end, clean it. With regards to pumps, if people have problems with their pumps, do not take pumps back. There is no moving parts. There is nothing that is going to be a problem with the pump 99.9% of the time. If people have a problem, direct them to bathmatedirect.com. All they need to do is put in their PID code, which is printed on the pump itself here, and this will give them their 2-year warranty and they can speak to our customer services directly. 99% of the time, it is a user error problem. It is a sealing problem or it is a valve problem. And it's not a problem with the pump. They're too hairy, they haven't cleaned it, they're not following the instructions correctly. If you swap the pump for them, you're giving them the same problem. The problem isn't the pump, the problem is the user. It's a user error. So they just need a little bit of explanation. If by some strange, crazy reason, there is an actual product problem with the pump, we will take it back and we will swap it for the customer. We don't recommend taking the pumps back in store. Okay, that is probably the keyest part of customer care. So Bathmate Direct has multiple language speaking service reps, and they will be able to help your customers out and we will handle it directly. How am I out of time?
Yeah, you're doing well. Actually, you have 1 more minute and then I was going to ask a couple more questions. So if there's anything you want to add before we get there.
Okay, so another thing that I would always recommend to have in store is the shower strap. So this is the easiest add-on sale of all time. It goes on every single pump model that we sell. I've just whacked my victory roll out of my hair. It's disappointing. So it just clips onto the top of the pump and it, too small. And what it will do is it will hold the pump in place while showering. So during those 3 minutes that you're holding the blood in, what that will do is hold the pump in place so that then they can wash their hair, wash their body, whatever they need to do during those 3 minutes. It also has a measuring gauge printed on so you can check on their gains, but it is the easiest add-on sale of all time, mostly because it covers all the pumps, all the sizes, and if you're using it in the shower, it is the best thing to sell with a pump. Okay. We do sell the replacement valves. If anyone breaks them while changing them, they're not covered under warranty. Pressure. And we also sell the cushion rings, which come in varying sizes, just depending on the pump you currently have. So these are 9. So as you can see, there's a variance. Get my head out of the way. There's a variance in girth. Now this goes between the body and the pump, like so. Okay. What it does is it makes the girth slightly smaller. So if you're finding that the testicles are still being pulled in, or you're finding what's going on here, or you're finding that you cannot get a great seal, what this does is it gives you extra distance for better seal against the skin, and it stops the testicles from being pulled in. So they come as a pack of 2, but they vary depending on the size of the pump. So they come in 3, 5, 7, and 9, and 11 actually. So all the sizes. I think that's me. You got any questions?
All right. So let's see. Maritza wants to know the YouTube channel that you mentioned.
So it's Bathmate UK. So if you go into it's youtube.com and then Bathmate UK, and that shows you so many videos of how to use the pumps, the variances, how to change valves, everything.
Okay, great. And Diego wants to know if his clients in Peru can access the warranty directly from Bathmate. Yeah,
it's worldwide. So all you have to do, doesn't matter where you bought the pump from, you just go on bathmatedirect.com, go to the product registration, pop in your PID code that's printed on the pump. And if you have any problems, you can contact our customer care directly through that. You do not need anything additionally.
Okay, great. And lastly, Laura's saying she can't find the comfort insert on our website. Does ECN carry it? Yes, we do. I don't know why. Laura, I'm going to leave your question up for a second. I'm going to find it during our break, and I'll put the link in there so that you can link directly to it.
So the comfort insert comes with the Hydromax. It's a part of a Hydromax, but we do sell them separately as well in case you break them or you lose it. I don't really understand how people lose it, but a lot of people do. So then if anything did happen, you can replace it.
Okay, great. And is there anything else you would like to add, Carrie?
No. Okay, thank you very much. I'm really sorry it's been a really tight on time, but I wanted to make sure you covered as much of the pump information as possible. But any questions, direct them to your rep and they will send them to me, and I can help anyone. But keyest thing, sizing, and get the sizing guide up in store.
Perfect. So Carrie is going to do, or Bathmate and Carrie are offering for their raffle prize a $100 Amazon gift card. So I'm going to spin my wheel, and just to also let everybody know how the raffle works. So when you guys enter into Zoom, we have your name with what you registered with. There is an online wheel that we export those names to. So if you're in here, you're automatically entered to win. Now you do have to be present in order to win. If you win, we will contact you directly because we know who most of you are. But you can always email marketing@ecn.com and say, hey, I'm a winner. And with your information, it makes it easier. So, without further ado, let me spin the wheel. I wish you would make noise. I'm spinning the wheel for the $100 Amazon gift card, and the winner is Ilani Davidson. Congratulations, Ilani. You are the winner.
Congratulations.
Of the Bathmate $100 gift card.
Congrats.
Yay. So Carrie, thank you so much. Your presentations are always so helpful and informative. Oh, you know what, Carrie, real quick, we have another question.
Okay.
Ron is asking, will having piercings be affected with buying this device? Like, is it going to pull? Is there any issues?
I can't say I've seen. However, I would imagine so I would be either incredibly careful or avoid it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. That would hurt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for dressing up and being a part of week 2. We really appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you soon, Carrie. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Thanks, Agent Carter.
Bye.